wherever you may be listening from. This is your 10-minute plug-in from MBN, and I'm your host, Ambassador Joyce Murigi, all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to your 10-minute plug-in from MBN, and this is your host, Ambassador Joyce Murigi, bringing you this episode of 10-minute plug-in from Nairobi, Kenya, in East Africa. I hope you're blessed today because this is the day the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. Let me know where you're watching us from. Let me know where you are listening us from or tuning from. Let me know. I am waiting to see who is in the house because today the Lord has blessed us with a word. Yes, I can see people coming in. Thank you. Let me know where you're watching us from or listening from or tuning in from. This is your 10-minute plug-in. It is your daily 10-minute plug-in. And the episode today is brought to you by Ambassador Joyce Murigi, all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. And today I know the Lord is gonna bless us. He has a word for us, and I will ask him to use me as his vessel, even as I wait for more people to join. Thank you for joining. I bless you. I bless the Lord because he's good. He is so good all the time. So as my title goes, when everything else does not make sense, then what does? When everything does not make sense, then what makes sense? Or what do you do? Do we give up? Do we give up living? Do we give up everything, or what do we do? There must be one thing that we must do. And when I'm thinking about everything not making sense, I'm thinking about relationships. Maybe you are in a relationship that does not make sense. Nothing adds up. You know, maybe it is a husband-wife relationship, it is a mother-children or father-children, or even friends or boyfriend-girlfriend. It doesn't make sense. And you feel like you are lost in that relationship. You feel like God has forgotten you. You feel like there is nothing else, to be retrieved or to be redeemed. Like everything is broken in that relationship. So what do you do? When I think about other things, I also think about work. Maybe it's months or even years since you got a check to put in the bank. There hasn't been work. There hasn't been money. You don't even know what to do. You don't know what to pay your rent with. You don't know, even where the next meal is going to come from because you don't have money. It doesn't make sense. Your financial status is down. Your health is down. You could be in a hospital bed. You're just looking, at the walls and wondering, what next? I am dying. I'm on my deathbed. So what next? Maybe it is even your family, like I mentioned. Nothing makes sense. Nothing looks like it is going on well. Everything looks like it is going down. It is going to the south. So what next? Everything seems to be going against you, however much you try. But you know what? Then there must be something that then makes sense. God must make sense, but this must be a conscious decision. You must make a decision that God must make sense. Why? Because I know that, all things work together for good for them that love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. And we are talking about when everything else does not make sense. But in the same breath, we are saying that everything worketh together for good for them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So it is for us to understand then that we must make this decision. But even as we make this decision, we must know that there is a purpose attached to everything. There is a plan. And although we do not understand, many times we don't understand, and we should not even try to understand God's plan, then we must trust that there is a purpose because he has said that everything worketh together for good. And to them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So there is a purpose in that, in everything that we are going through. Even when things seem not to be going right, there is a purpose attached to that season. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1, we are told that to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heavens. So it is for us to understand that everything, like I'm saying, has a purpose. And God has a plan for every purpose. So although we may not understand his plan, then we must be able to make that choice to trust his purpose. We must make this conscious decision to trust his purpose because everything has a purpose. Whatever we are going through has a purpose. God has a plan. And we are told in Jeremiah 29, chapter 29 and verse 11, that for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. So God has a plan. He's a master planner. And his plans are not to harm us. Yes, he knows that we will go through, tribulations, we will go through sufferings. We will go through these dark moments when everything does not make sense, when everything has failed and we feel like God is in a distance, when we feel like he's even absent in our lives. But we must trust that there is a purpose attached to that season that we are going through, and that God has plans. He has a plan for each and every one of us. And this plan is not to harm us, but to give us a future, to give us hope and a future. Even as he understands that, yes, circumstances can harm us, the things that we are going through can harm us, but he promises that his plan is for good. It is for giving us a hope and a future. And he plans around seasons. He knows that we will go fire. We will go through fire. But he tells us that this fire will not harm us. So what are we left to do? Ours is, let me not say it is simple, but at least we know what we are supposed to do. We are just supposed to trust his plan, to trust the process, and to trust the purpose. We need to, and to even understand, to try and understand the plan that he has for us, even in a difficult situation, even in a difficult, season. And why do things go wrong, if I may ask ourselves? Thank you, Queen Victoria, my forever support. Thank you so much. I know you're watching us all the way from Spain. Thank you, Hola. I don't know. I'm not sure that is the way I'm supposed to greet you, but I hope you're doing well. Why do things go wrong? It is because we plan. We want things to go according to our plan. Yet we are told, but that many are the plans in a man's heart, but only those plans that God has ordained will prevail. So this master planner is only his plans that are going to prevail. And we always think that God should do or can do or could do many things that we ask him to do. But we must trust that his timing is the best. And when he does something, that is the best time that it has come. And let us also be careful not to miss a message or his message in whatever circumstances that we are going through, or in whatever seasons that we are going through. There could be a message attached to that season, or a lesson to learn in that season. When things do not make sense, do we think it is God maybe setting us up so that we can learn to depend and to be vulnerable to him? Can we trust him enough? Are we grateful to him even as we go through this? As we go through this moment of feeling that God is in a distance, God is somewhere he's absent and everything is going wrong. Can we hope? Can we have hope? And and just that, like there can't be a day without the night. Then we must believe that there can't be a good season without a bad season. For the night gives birth to the day, then a bad season must give birth to a good season. And God's silence is not absence. He is present at all times. And why do I know this? Because he is the omnipresent God. And he's not a man that he should lie. He says that he will not leave us nor forsake us. So when he seems quiet, he seems like he is not anywhere near us, we must understand, we must trust that promise that he says he will never leave us. And in fact, when I look at the Bible, there are more than 25 verses that speak about God being with us and not leaving us. So we must trust that promise. We must trust what he has said, because he is not a man that he should lie. And then another thing I'm also reminded is that when we are going through these circumstances, when we are going through these seasons, we should not try to see God's goodness in our circumstances, but rather we should try to see our circumstances through God's goodness. Let me say that again, that we should not interpret God's goodness in our circumstances, because we will not understand why we are going through sickness if we try to do that. We are not going to see God's goodness in our sickness. We are not going to see God's goodness in our suffering, but rather we should interpret our circumstances through God's goodness. That we should be able to break down our circumstances and see our circumstances through God's goodness. This is grace. So we should actually ask God to give us grace to be able to go through these seasons, through these seasons of darkness, through these circumstances that leave us wondering, do I still have faith? Is God still there? So we should try to see our circumstances through God's grace, or rather through God's goodness. And this is grace that like I have told you. And I hope that today we will actually choose to trust in God's purpose, even when we do not understand his plan. Because like I said, he's not a man that he should lie. I hope and pray that even as we go through these moments that leave us wondering so much, that leave us feeling like everything else is failing, that everything else around us does not make sense. Even as we go through these moments, and when I'm thinking about everything does not make sense, yet everything under the sun has purpose. and in everything we should give thanks, and everything worketh together for good. But then there is one God who created that everything. So then, if He created this everything, then He must be the one that makes sense. So I pray that today we can say, like Job, even when everything else is failing and everything else is, going to the south, that we know our Redeemer lives and He will stand on the earth. In other words, we know that our Redeemer lives. He is going to redeem us. He is going to redeem everything that we have lost. He is going to compensate. He is going to make us regain what we have lost. He is going to repay whatever we have lost. May we learn to trust in His purpose, knowing that His plans are for good and not to harm us, knowing that we are here for a reason, we are here for a purpose, and that purpose we must trust the Maker who brought us here, the Maker of these products, of you, because you are His product. I hope you are blessed today by the word of the Lord, because I was blessed. And until the next episode of 10-Minute Plug-in from MBN, this is your host, Ambassador Joyce Murigi, giving you a Queen's salute and telling you that I will see you at the top. Let us keep trusting. Let us keep loving God and having His grace to see our circumstances through His goodness. God bless you. I will see you again very soon. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for tuning in. God's blessings.